First and foremost, of course, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to make it here. And second, I want to thank Paul Bright. He's the technical director from the coaching manual. As you guys know, this is a really exciting project for us because it's like a one-stop platform for all of our coaches, and we're going to give free access to everybody. Every single coach in the Rush worldwide is going to have access to the Rush coaching manual. That it's a fully customized version of the coaching manual. And but let's take it from there. So Paul, thank you very much for taking the time, and you can take it from here.
Thanks, Pablo. Just a massive thank you, everyone, for obviously joining us today, and also to Pablo and his team over the past, few months of speaking with Russia at that senior level and really meeting, hopefully, the demands of you and your coaches and your clubs across the country and globally, really. With, the coaching manual have been going for around 9 years now, so we work. We've provided our own coaching manual platform, some of you may be aware of. We work with other professional clubs, so Southampton Football Club in the English Premier League, Glasgow Rangers in the Scottish Premier League. They have their own versions of the coaching manual, and now Rush will have their own version of the coaching manual, so the Rush coaching manual. That allows Rush Soccer Club to really customise and provide all of the relevant information to all of the coaching staff across the network. And that's the key with any large club and organisation like yourself is, if you remove the badge, do you know who you are? And that comes down to your coaching methodologies and how you go about things. And obviously each area is going to do things slightly different, but all encompassing under the Rush way, as you guys call it. Very quick introduction on myself. I am the technical director for the coaching manual. I've been based in California, here in Southern California for the last 4 years, originally from Manchester in the UK. I am a UEFA A licensed coach and a USSFA licensed coach, and I've coached in professional academies in the UK and also in the United States as well. So hopefully got a good angle on how these sorts of tools can support you guys. So having said that, as Pablo said, we will open it out to questions at the end, but as I go through different parts of the platform, if you do have any questions, I'm not sure if you can access the chat bar, please feel free to put them in.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
If you guys want, you can post it on the chat, or you can raise a hand, and I'll be taking a look so that I can interrupt for a little bit and let you ask your question.
Brilliant. So hopefully you guys can all see my screen now. Pablo, can you see my screen?
We can.
Perfect. Okay. So as I said, we've created the Rush coaching manual in line with Rush Soccer Club, which means every coach within the Rush network will get their own login into this platform. So I know that Pablo's got a system where you can submit forms or an Excel sheet, and then we can onboard your coaching staff, and we will then send them out an email with their verification details. So that's the first step. Now, I'll come on to the premium stuff afterwards as well, but I'm going to use Chicago Rush as the demonstration as at a club level, because Chicago Rush have been using the coaching manual before we developed the Rush coaching manual for a number of years now. And what we've now done is transferred all of their club coaches and teams across to the Rush coaching manual already. And they've all got premium access. So I'll tell you what the difference is, but everyone gets their own login. So you go to rush.thecoachingmanual.com, you put your email address and your own password, and you click login. Now, there's three main parts to the site. The locker room, which I'm going to come to next, because this is the structure really, and the club structure and the coaching structure of how you navigate the site. There's the training ground, which I'm going to start with, which is where all of the content is housed. And then the final part is my content, which allows every coach within the Rush network to create their own content as well. So I'm actually going to start with the training ground. And as you can see, again, customize. You've got your logo in the top. This is the club logo because it's the club account. If this was an individual coach, you can put your own picture and coaching image in. I'll show you how to do that shortly. And you can see this is Rush Soccer specific. So what we've got, there's a few different ways to find the content. Over the next few months and ongoing, we will continue to upload Rush content. Obviously, Pablo and his team of senior coaching staff will continue to provide the content, what is specific to Rush in terms of coaching sessions, practices, activities, webinars, and we will continue to upload to the Rush site. So this is the beauty about these platforms, is in a way they're never finished. The main coaching manual is never finished because the game evolves and we continue to put new content out there, and it's exactly the same for Rush. So from the training ground, every coach will get free access to all of the Rush content. Now, the easiest way to find that is we have created these tiles here. So every piece of content linked to the Rush is under the Rush Way tile. If you want to find just sessions, so everything from a warm-up for a small-sided game in one full session, individual activities, webinars, podcasts, written articles, and of course, as part of the agreement, we've uploaded all of the coaching manual content on there as well. The coaching manual content has premium video content, which I'll touch base on further. So, for example, I'm a Rush coach. I log in. I've got my free account. I click on the Rush Way. Everything provided by Rush Soccer is in here. Now, that means we've got written guides. There's education pieces, so webinars, and there's practices and sessions. So, for example, if I click on View All Guides, I can see all of the different guides provided by the Rush. Okay, and there's 2 pages worth of guides right now. So, for example, if I click, and we've got them in different languages as well, which is great, but I can't read Italian. So I'll click on this Rush Way Senior Philosophy, and as you can see, all of the documentation that your coaching staff may need to review and preview is in there.
So Paul, if you don't mind me adding something to that.
Yeah.
So basically we want to create it because one of the greatest things about the coaching manual and the reason why we decided to do this project together is because of how user-friendly it is. And that means it's not only a website for us, but it's also an app. So you can easily navigate the app from your phone, and that really facilitates the usage of the tool. We wanted a really simple, straightforward tool in that sense. The second part that it's really exciting and really good for us is like it's allowing us to integrate all of the different types of content that we have. So for instance, all of the coaching development, coaching education related podcasts that you can see on the Rush Podcast Network are going to be here as well. All of the articles that you see on the Rush Soccer blog are going to be here as well. And the same happens with the webinars that Chris P does, or with the Rush Way specifically, when it comes to documents and guidelines and philosophies, etc., etc., etc. So it really works in a user-friendly one-stop shop for all of our coaches that have permanent access. So it's a really good thing for us. Thank you, Paul.
Absolutely.
Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. Absolutely, and that's the idea of coaches don't have 15 different logins to access content. It's all under one roof. So just an example of a guide, a written guide, and I'll show you how the favorites and the folders feature works shortly. And we'll go back to the training ground and back to the Rush Way. As Pablo was saying, I'll click on the podcast shortly, but if I click on Rush Way again, you've got education pieces. So you've got written articles and webinars here. So Rush Coaching Education webinar, and you can access it here with the wonderful Tim Bradbury there. And all the way through to, if I go back, bear with me 1 second, runs a bit slow sometimes when I'm on Zoom. And even all the way to individual practices. So everything created by Rush Soccer. So we'll click box on box 8v8, as you can see here. Very logo, everything specific to the club and the coaching methodology within the club. And again, I can print this stuff off. I can favorite it and add it to a folder, which I'll show you shortly. There is also a way to filter the content you want to look for. So I'm just going to check. So if I click on the Rush Way and I click on practices, I should be able to filter by if it's got coaching footage or not. Now, none of the Rush content other than the webinars have got coaching video. The coaching manual does. Should be able to filter it by age, by the phase of the game, and even by the theme of the game to find exactly what I want. If it's in there, it's a ball mastery. So everything with ball mastery for my 9 to 12-year-olds is in there, and I can just select the one I want, and off I go. So there's a way to filter and find exactly the content you want. So a couple of other things on the training ground. Each week or every so often, obviously we've got Pablo here, we will do notes of the week or picks of the week, and that can be related to the point in time of the season. So they will always pop up on the main site. Recommended for you is based on what age groups you coach. So when you log in as a coach, you can select what age groups you coach, and it will push content to you that is recommended for you in the age group you coach. And then the latest coaching videos are really from a coaching manual perspective until we start uploading Rush coaching videos as well, and then they will get pre-populated. As Pablo said, if you want to find the webinars, click on the webinar tool. You can click view all. And again, it's got all of the webinars delivered by Rush, but also it's got all of the webinars delivered by the coaching manual. So if you upgrade to premium access for each club, you will get access to not just the Rush webinars, but the webinars that the coaching manual did with people like Mike Phelan, who's the assistant manager of Manchester United. There's one here with Gareth Jennings, who's head of technical leadership at FIFA. So some real quality, value-added content alongside your own Rush content as well. So that really is the training ground. And like I said, if there are those clubs who do upgrade to the coaching manual premium package, all of the content for the coaching manual is in the final tile. So yes.
I'm sorry, if you so that right before you jump onto this, if you don't mind me adding one thing about the training ground. So Paul is being very discreet, and I appreciate that. So when you guys get your access, you're going to notice that, for instance, there are missing pieces from the Rush way. In fact, in terms of sessions and activities, for instance, we don't have too many yet uploaded to the coaching manual. And the reason, and I'm always completely transparent, is the reason is because as I go over the Rush way, I don't just pass it on and upload it. I focus on upgrading it, on adding things that maybe we didn't add in the past. And I do the same with our sessions and our activities. Our progression manual is getting expanded. For those that were on the Rush Summit, you heard me talking about this. We're building a complete methodological roadmap from U6 to U18. And that process takes me a lot of time, of course. But despite not having everything ready, I didn't want to delay the release of the tool because of this, because of what Paul is saying. It's not only Rush content, and that's one of the objectives of the coach development department. Is like, I want you to see the Rush way, and I want to make the Rush way available for you in the best possible way. But I also want you to have access to external content that we believe is top quality, and this is the case because the coaching manual has its own content, and it's top quality. I'm saying like, hey, let's release it relatively quick, and then we'll keep building it. It's just like Paul says, it's a never-ending project in that sense because the game evolves. So there's always something new to add. But I did want to clarify that. Of course, the content, and this is something that the coaching manual was really, really good at, is organized for you to visualize first what's part of the Rush, but then it's always supplemented by the coaching manual content. So it's really good. There's tons of things to learn, honestly.
Great, thanks, Pablo. And again, I will echo what Pablo said. Is I think it's a good thing that Russia have released this early rather than waited to get every single piece of content on, because that could take a very long time. But also the game will evolve and the rush methodology will evolve as the club evolves as well. But there's a couple of other reasons why it's good that it's been released early, which is where I'm going to go to next after the training ground. But like I said, the training ground, everyone will get free access to the rush content. There is an upgrade for the coaching manual content, which I'll speak about at the end. And the final part is you can also use this search tool. So for example, if I'm a coach and I want to find a passing activity, I just type passing into the search bar, and everything with passing in, full sessions or individual activities and practices will come up, and I can look through and find what I want. Same with rush content. If I put rush in here, everything with rush in the title and the practices will come up. And again, I can use these themes to find exactly what I'm looking for. So that's the training ground. And the next piece, what every rush coach will get, is access to the My Content feature. So every coach can log in and go to the My Content feature, which means every coach in Rush can create their own content. So if you go to My Content, you go to Create Diagram, and it will give you two options. It will give you the white background or a green background. I believe Rush and Pablo, we've selected the green background for all of our imagery when we've created the Rush. So I'm not sure if you want to standardize that, but you've got the options of both.
Yes, of course. There's no way that we can audit that, but one of the documents that you're actually going to find in the coaching manual is the session planning standards. And as Paul is saying, it's like we want to standardize the way we create graphics as much as we can. So you'll be able to find that as well.
Excellent. So you select the green background and you've got all these different field areas, if you like, everything from futsal fields, rondo boxes, different areas of the field. So if I select the attacking third now, and you can see the Rush logos on there, which is nice. If your coaches are pushing this out, it will always have the Rush logo on. And it's very, very simply, if you haven't seen this tool before, it's a drag and a drop. You can rotate anything. I'm not going to tell you guys how to create sessions because you all know how to create sessions, but just in terms of the tools, you can highlight different areas. Click off it. You can drag different pieces of equipment in. I can even put a grid in so I can lay down my different cones. I can change the color of anything again. I can drag mannequins in, hurdles, ladders, all these different equipments. Again, I can rotate anything. And then my players. So drag my goalkeeper in, and it automatically for goalkeepers puts GK, but I can number them or initial them if I had a player. So it's up to us. We can label anything, different players, put them in, number them. And as you can see, you've got different passing, movement, receiving lines, dribbling lines, all sorts going on here. Obviously put a ball in. I'll take the grid out. Can even put text boxes in here. So I call it Rush Test. And once I'm happy with my diagram, I can mess around with this, by the way. Once I'm happy with my diagram, all I have to do is click Save. I'll give it a name. I'll call it Rush Test 1. Create. And what it will do, it will create that diagram for me as a coach. Now, again, I can favorite it, which I'm going to show you shortly what that will mean in the locker room. So if I favorite that, I can add it to a folder. I can even export it as a JPEG image and save it to my desktop computer. So if I want to put it into other documents outside of this, I can do. I can print it out. And to find any of my content, I'll go back to my content. We'll see Rush Test 1 there. At any point, I can delete it or edit it. So if I want to go and edit the diagram, If I've made a mistake or I need to upgrade it, I can go in and edit it. So I might have forgot to put a defender in. Save, it will automatically update it, and it will update it in anything you put it in as well. So your session plans and your activity plans. And also, if I want to use this as a template and add a progression, I'll just click add a progression, and rather than starting again, I may want to add a second goal and a goalkeeper in my progression. Put another goalkeeper in, rotate the keeper, click save, and all I need to do is give it a different name and click create. So now, very much a layered approach. I know there might have been some questions coming in, which I'll get to shortly. I'll go back to my content, and once I've created my diagrams and I'm happy with them, I go to create a practice or create an activity. This is where I can start putting the detail into what I want to deliver. So I may call it Rush Test 1. I put a summary in. I select from my diagrams, so the one I've just created, or I can select JPEGs from my laptop as well. And then these are all optional. I can tag the age group, the phase of the game, the theme of the game, type of practice, stage of practice, warm up, unit focus, area of the field. Then you've got the basic stuff. How long is the practice? Area size, players, cones, balls, bibs. I'll just select anything for now. And then the bottom bit is really allows you to customize your session plan however you want. I'm sure Pablo's going to set some standards as well to support you, but you can use headers or titles. You can use paragraphs. You can use bullet lists and add different bullet points. You can add number lists. You can move this stuff around. You can add a drop down, which means you put a coaching point in and then you click on it to get more detail. You can add other images. So for example, if I've got a progression within the same activity, I'll just put progression and I can add that second image. And then the really nice thing, and one of my favorite parts of this tool, is you can actually embed your own video in here. So you, as a club or as an individual coach, you can create your own coaching manual. So what you do is if you're a coach who records training or games or whatever, if you upload it to YouTube or Vimeo or SoundCloud or whatever you do. So for example, I found a Rush piece on YouTube here. If I click share, embed, and copy this long embed code, when I go back to the coaching manual, it inserts that video in there for me. And again, if I want it at the top, I can move it around or wherever I want to put it. I click save. And this is exactly what my practice looks like. It looks like it's been created on the coaching manual. So I've got my diagram, my setup, my detail, which obviously we've just shown you how to use it, my progression, and also my video in there. Every piece of content created has a unique URL, so you could send that to other coaches, send it to your players, your parents, whatever you want to do. And that's an individual activity.
Again, to add on that, Paul, it seems, I just want to highlight how cool it actually is that we can embed videos, because it seems simple, but for us in coach education, the next step is like, we know that the Rush Way is comprehensive, and but realistically, we also know that a lot of coaches don't read it because it's so comprehensive, because it's so extensive. So as we go and upgrade it and develop it, our complementary project is to start creating videos about it, to say, okay, if we have a way of setting up a wall, the Rush Way, just to give an example, okay, can we make a video of actually showing it? And the same with our sessions, and the same with our activities. So as an educational content, it's powerful for us.
Absolutely. A picture paints 1,000 words, and a video definitely does. So it is the next evolution. So once you've created your practice, if you like, you go back to my content. So you create all your diagrams, then create your practices. You can see the practice is in there, and you're ready to add it to a full session. So I'll go create a full session, create new session, rush session 1, give it a summary of what it's about. And then to find it, all I need to do is type in the title of the practice, and I can drag and drop it wherever I want to put it. So I want to put it in the warm-up. Now, I can drag and drop all of my own content in that I create, or I can mix it in with Rush content, which is already on there. So if you know the title of a practice, so this is all Rush content, I can drag it in, for example. And I can even drop in coaching manual content if I've got the access to that. So for example, we have David Moyes, the West Ham manager, on here, who's just kept him in the Premier League. If I like that David Moyes activity within his session and it fits in with what I'm trying to do, I can create my own content here. Once I'm happy, and you don't have to fill all 4 boxes, by the way. If you do play, practice, play, you potentially just do warm-up, skill, game. It's up to you. And once I'm happy, I click Save Session. And then it's there in My Sessions. I click on it. Again, unique URL. Got the content here. This is the one we've just created. I click Next. This is a Rush Way session. Next, another Rush Way session. And then finally, get to the David Moyes session. And again, I can favorite it, which I'll show you what that looks like at the end now. I can add it to a folder, or I can print it off and take the session plan with me. So I think I was asked the question, can we download our session activities? Yeah, it downloads as a PDF. So you can go compact or detailed layout or current practice only. And hopefully you can see this bit, but you can go save as a PDF. So I was asked that question already in the chat bar. So it's just loading the preview. You save it as a PDF and off you go. So you can create your own library of sessions on a PDF if you wish. I'll go back to my content. And at any time you want to edit anything, they're all there to be edited. For example, if I change this diagram, it would automatically upgrade in here and in the full session. So you don't have to go and re-add stuff, which is nice. And again, the final bit is, yeah.
One little thing just to clarify, when you open the session, because this is something that people were asking, because we have it structured as warm-up, small-sided, and I think you have what part 1, part 2,
warm-up,
game,
technical, skills, small-sided, yeah.
Yeah. So they were asking, what happens if I have 3 parts, or what happens if I do a different structure for my session?
Just have 3 parts. So for me, there's 4 typically different session structures you can have. There's the chaining method, which is warm-up, technical, skill, small-sided, game, which is the most common one. It's how most people learn most things in life. You have what's called a play, practice, play, or a whole part whole now, which obviously your warm-up becomes your game. Your middle activities become, you know, whether it should be skill-based, and then your final activity is a game. So you just add the 3 parts in. You've got what's called a carousel, which is a third structure, which is different topics, and then they come together at the end to play. So it's like different stations. So again, just add them in. And then the final one is a part play, which means we may do a bit on something on passing, something on dribbling, something on shooting, and then we're going to finish with a game. That's probably the most uncommon way, but even though we've laid it out with the chaining method, it works for any method. It's up to you. You don't have to fill every category. If you only got 3 parts to your session, it's fine. So,
exactly, that's what I want. If you don't mind showing them, like, because I don't think that in the session itself, it gets titled as warm up. So
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It doesn't. So it doesn't really matter if you're using one method or the other.
It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, as you can see there. It doesn't come up warm up. And that was just a bit of clarification when we created that for people trying to understand where it could potentially fit. But no, we don't title it warm up, technical, skill, game. It's just in there for clarification. It just comes up as a number. Now, if you put if you called this practice rush test warm up, then it's going to come up as warm up because you put it as a warm up.
Yeah.
So it's up to you what you want to do. So final little bit on my content, and then I'm going to go to the final part, which is the locker room and really how a club can upgrade and structure the whole club. So as well as sessions and activities, you can create club documents. So for example, if I'm Chicago Rush and we have, you know, Chicago Rush coaching standards, I can then put a summary in, I can put images in if I need to. It doesn't have all the tabs, but what I can do is use all these different tools, paragraphs, headers, to create a document or an article. And that document is then saved electronically, and I can download it as a PDF, or I can email it to my parents or my coaches. I can favorite it. So you can communicate electronically rather than creating things on Word and saving it on a PDF. Again, you can have everything in one place. This may be, you know, simple stuff. It may be, you know, pitch allocations. It may, I don't know, whatever you need to use really. So it works exactly the same as creating a practice, but it's there for you. So that's the My Content feature. And everyone as part of the Rush Network is going to get free access to that as well. So the things that all the coaches within the Rush Network will get for free are all of the Rush content on the training ground and access to this Rush session planner, if you like. So the final piece I'm going to cover is the locker room. Now, some of this is applicable to everybody, some of it isn't. And this is when I'll segue into the upgrade, if you like. So when a coach first logs in, this will be blank. All of this will be blank. When you log in, if you click in the top right corner and click Edit Profile, as an individual coach, you can put your name in and your bio and your website details. If you as a club upgrade, we will also create you a club account like we have with Chicago Rush. You can also edit your profile theme, so you can put head and shoulders shot if you're an individual coach, or you can put your background image in here and put it in. What you can also do as an individual coach, if you click account details, you can change your email address, you can change your password, you can put your preferences in. And remember at the start when I said about training ground and recommended for you, if you only coach 5 to 8s, just tick 5 to 8. It automatically pre-populates everything. But if you only coach a specific age group, you may only coach 11v11 age players. So when you click change age groups, it will recommend, you can find any content, but it will recommend content based on the age group selected. What else then? License manager, I'll come to that shortly on the club stuff. And then I'll go back to the locker room now. I'll show you the favorites and the folders because everybody can use this. So as you can see here, recent favorites. If you find a piece of content anywhere on the training ground or even your own created content and you want to favorite it to come back, if you hit favorite, so looking at this Rush coach education article here on overlapping centre backs, if I click favorite as an individual coach and then go back to my locker room, you can see it's favorited there, so I don't have to go searching through the site. What I can also do, I can do that as a club. What I can also do as a coach is if I go to folders, I can create folders of content and then organize my coaching resources in a very logical way digitally. So for example, if I want to create 11v11 Rush content, I'm going to explain what this is about in a minute and click create new folder. You will see that that folder's there. Now, because I'm logged in as a club, I actually have the capability to share this folder with other coaches in the club. If I was logged in as an individual coach, I don't have that access. It has to come from a club level. So it would just be privatized. Now, if I'm doing it from Chicago Rush's account here. So if I click share and I click edit folder, if I select the teams I want to share this with, and I'll have to go back and delete the folder because it will actually share it with them, and click update folder, what will happen when I create, when I drag content into that folder? So if I go to the training ground, for example, I find a piece of content that I want to share with all of my 11v11 coaches. If I click add to folder and I add it to the 11v11 rush content folder, you'll see that this piece of content's added. If I go back to the locker room, if I'm an individual coach, it will only be in there for me. If I'm a club, just wait for it to load, and I've shared it, everyone who I've shared it with will now get that folder in their folders section, and they can't edit it either because I'm, as the club, in charge, and that's part of an upgrade as well. So so to summarize, everyone can use folders. If you're part of the upgrade as a club, you can create folders and share content, and that works with your own content as well. So it doesn't have to be content on the Rush Coaching Manual. For example, if I click on the session I've just created, you'll see the same tab. This is the one we just created. I click add to folder. Everyone gets the one that the club's just created. But again, that's got to be done from the club account, if that makes sense. So back to locker room, that's the folders. And then the final thing, and probably the most worthwhile thing for the club in the upgrade, as well as getting all of the access to the premium video content from the coaching manual, is the fact that we will then create you a club. So if I click club overview, first I'll click on Chicago Rush. So Chicago Rush have already upgraded because they've been using it. We create you the bio, and as you can see, every team within Chicago Rush has been created. And because I'm on the club account, I can manage these teams, and I'll show you how and what I mean by that. So every coach within Chicago Rush, if I go back to locker room, I'll show you the easy way. If I click club overview, every team within Chicago Rush has now been created, and every head coach has now been assigned a team. So if I wanted to add a team, I click add team, I create the team name, so I'll call it test, I'll go back and delete it. Age group, I'll fill all that in another day. And then it automatically puts the club as the head coach. If I click edit team, I remove the head coach, and again, I can show you how to do all this. I refresh the page, and I add a head coach, so I'll put my name in. It will then assign me as the head coach. So when I log in as an individual coach, I will see all of my Chicago Rush teams, if that's the one. I can add assistant coaches, can even add players if you wish. So I don't know if you want to open it up to Q&A now. Yeah. If I need to jump back into the site, I can do. I know there's a few things on the chat bar.
Let's take a look at the questions. Paul, one little favor: if you send that flyer out to the clubs, please switch the Adidas to a Capelli.
Oh, is it the Adidas? Oh, I didn't even notice that one. Yeah, that was the marketing team. Good spot.
We're not allowed to do
that. You get me in trouble. Good shout, yeah. Very good shout. No problem. I'll sort that out today, mate. It'll be done in the next hour. I don't do that stuff. I'm pleading innocent here. That's not me.
So a lot of people were asking questions. I'm going to allow people to unmute yourself, and I'll try to find. I'm sorry if I missed anybody. I know Neil McNabb. I know you had a question. So if you want to unmute yourself and go straight to Paul. Neil, can you hear us? You should be able to unmute yourself now.
I cannot unmute. I know he's got a couple of questions here. I'll start going through a few of these while we work it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Neil, when is this going live to all coaches as of now? Pablo, that's fine with you, correct?
I'm sorry.
In terms of when we can push this out now to coaches.
Yeah, within the next 2 weeks. That would be the timeline. One more day, one less day, but around in the next 2 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah. I had another question here. Is the content we create able to be downloaded into a PDF? Yeah, I think I answered that one. Absolutely. PDF and images downloaded to JPEGs. I have a PowerPoint collection of some of my sessions. Can they be uploaded? Can't upload PowerPoints or PDFs right now. What I I would do if I was you, if you have a PowerPoint collection, save them as images. So you can do it in Keynote, because I use Apple. I'm not sure if you can do it in PowerPoint, or screenshot them and upload the slides as images. So you can do it that way. Will this be compatible with Huddle and Trace? Been asked that question before. Very, very difficult. The way I actually know clubs outside of Rush who do this, what they do, they pull the game footage and they pull the main stats that they pulled out of Huddle and Trace, and they upload them into that practice planner, and then they send it to the players. So it's up to you, however you want, how deep you want to go into it. If Huddle provide MP4 videos, which I believe they do, then obviously you can upload MP4 videos, and you can upload stuff from YouTube. So hopefully, is there any COVID approved content that we may need during our return to play? Absolutely. If I quickly go back to the screen, we actually created a tile, and I'll have to speak to Pablo separately on this, but if you go to the training ground and type in return to play, into the search bar, there's lots of content that we've put on around return to play. So if you go view all practices, and again, by phase of the game and by theme, you can filter it through. But yes, there are return to play specific content and video that's on there. So 5 pages worth, and there's 16 activities per page, so quite a bit. You can filter it by age group as well. So yeah, there is. Recommended, yeah. Can we get a copy of this flyer? Yeah, when I change the kit. We have over 100 teams. Is there a way to add additional licenses if needed? Yeah, it doesn't work on. So Damien, good question there. The cost doesn't work per team; it works per coach. If you have 200 teams and 100 coaches, and they all coach 2 teams, then it goes off the coach. If you've got more than 100 coaches, just come and speak to me directly, and I'll work it out. I'll work it out what we need to do. Again, we're going to look after you guys. This is the start of a partnership, and we recognise that you know how high of a regard Rush is held in within the United States. So for us, you know, we want to get it right for you guys. So don't worry about that. It's an individual conversation, and we'll make sure that we sort it out. I'm not sure if you guys are allowed to unmute yet. Still saying unmute. I think I've answered all of those questions in the chat bar. If anyone's got any additional ones, please feel free to put in the chat bar now or unmute yourself. I'm not sure if Pablo has been allowed to yet.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that. Some people just post something on the chat, and I'll go straight to your name and unmute you, because the option of unmuting everybody didn't work, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you can raise your hand. If you raise your hand, then we can unmute you.
Or raise your hand as well. Yep, that works too. I have one actually.
Yeah.
Paul, would you mind showing this is something that people do normally, is they find maybe a session or an activity, and they say like, okay, this is great, but I need to tweak it a little to use it in my for my team. How can they, let's suppose that it's a coaching manual session or a Rush Way session, how can they do that?
Good question. There's a couple of ways you can do that. And for me, it depends on how deep you want to go into it and how much time you want to put into that plan. For me, I actually do it a slightly different way of, if I share my screen, I will normally have a list of activities that I want. So if I go to the training ground, and if I go to sessions, so for example, I may find if I go to this return to play finishing from wide areas session, for example. So I may go through this and I may think, okay, the initial activity is okay. I'll click next. This activity is okay. I've got the video here to watch. Yeah, and then I get to the third piece and I go, you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to put my own in there. I'm going to progress into something else. What I will do, I will then go to my content, I will go create session. I will drag in the ones I want, and then I will create my own through the diagram and practice creator, and then put it in where I think it should go. So that's changing the order. Or I could even think, you know what? There's activities on here that are really good, but they're not in one complete session. So all I need to do is find what the activity titles are, write them down. So I may want to do this multiple game session, the dribbling circle, and what's the next? And the dribble tag, but it's not all in one session. Again, just write the title down, go to the session planner, and off you go. If you want to change what's on the actual site, obviously because it's on the front end of a website, you can't go and edit the front end of the website. What I suggest you do, and I've done this as well before, is, by the way, there's 54 pages of content. I didn't realize we had that much on. There's 16 activities per page and 54 pages, so an afternoon's worth of stuff there. If I go to find a piece of content that I want, but I want to change some of the detail within it, so I'll pick a coaching manual activity, for example. So if I go to this Gary Rowett session, Gary Rowett's the manager of Millwall. This session actually only went on 2 days ago. I've not even watched it myself. I was there live. But if I want to do this activity but put a progression in, I can copy and paste any of this stuff and then put it into a new practice. I can also copy images and paste them into new practices. What I can't do is embed this video into my own, because this is on the actual site. So there's different ways to do it, to answer your question. What you can't do is log into this and go edit this, because if you did, you're editing the whole website, and then I've got a problem. I've got to go and fix the site. So the way I normally do it, I will scale the order of what I want to deliver. I'll create my own sessions, or I'll create my own content and copy and paste the bits what I need in as and when, if that makes sense. So I hope I answered your question there, Pablo.
Very good. It does definitely. Thank you, Chris. You know me well. Just laughing because he said, like, I'm sure he's recording it. Definitely we're recording this. Very good. Let me see if we have any others.
What I will also do on Chris's comment, Pablo, I will record 3 parts, which will be 10, 12-minute videos. I'll record a part for the locker room, part for the training ground, part for my content, and then I will put those video guides onto the site so that people can, instead of sitting through a full 40-minute video of how to use the site, they can chunk it and do it like you said. So I can support with that as well.
Very good.
In terms of webinars for individual clubs as well, absolutely. So for example, with Chicago Rush coming on board already, and they may have new members of staff, webinars can be set up directly with myself to take you through the site, and I'm sure me and Pablo will continue to do that as we keep onboarding coaches as well.
Perfect. Very good. And yes, that's something that we can talk. That's what I was telling the guys. We can always maybe organize different approaches depending. We can talk about it, Paul. Maybe we do webinars about a certain topic. We record them, we distribute them as well, or whatever is more efficient. We can definitely debate about that. Very good. I think Chris P is asking you for something. Let me unmute himself. There you go, Chris. We should be able to listen to you.
Thanks, Pablo. Brighty, how are you? I hope everything's well.
Chris, yeah, good to have you on the call, mate. How are you doing?
Good, my man. Regards to Craney, first of all, the important thing, and then we'll be able to get access to techers with this, or would that be an add-on, and then for the individual development plans for players as well? Yeah,
that's additional, because the main thing for myself and Pablo was to create this tool for coaches. With the top techers stuff, I obviously know that you've got a relationship with Craney already, which people obviously might be thinking what we're going on about now. But there are additional, it will be an addition, but there are, with a partnership with Rush, we will make sure that we look after Rush clubs. So it's probably a separate conversation from here, Chris. But we've got competitive pricing for that now for Rush clubs, because you are a partner of ours now. So we've already discussed that.
Brilliant, Brighty.
For the case of this, it's very much a coaching focus right now, which is what Pablo was keen to stress, and myself. But obviously, you speak to Craney anyway, so.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And to add on that, and with all the transparency in the world, as we always do it in this department, is we have limited budget. Of course, we have a pandemic in the middle that it's not helping, and we also talked to Paul many times, and they were really generous and very flexible to make this work. And we said, okay, let's start from here. Let's start from here, because this is what we can do today. And there's also a learning curve that the platform is really straightforward. It doesn't really take long to learn it, but there's a path to cover first. And once all of us were feeling comfortable, and if we feel like we're ready for a further step and we want it, we'll definitely do it. Let's just start from here and build it.